Hey, you guys, it's Pisces. I know, I don't want to even hear it. I know I've been gone, okay? But let me tell you something. I've been working on this video for 2 months while I was even working on my other videos, all right? It takes a lot of motherfucking brain power to put this shit together, all right? Y'all know I don't just jump on here and chit chat and shit. I've got to channel, I've got to do all that kind of stuff. I got to, when I comes through, I comes through. Y'all know I don't be, ain't no half stepping up over here, all right? So it's take a lot of work to put these motherfucking shit together. But in my defense, last month was my birthday. Okay, I turned 21 again. No, I'm just playing. I'm 21 to like the 10th power, motherfucker. Third, 20th power. No, I'm just playing. But anyways, yes, I turned 21 again for the 20th time. So much fun to be 21 for 20 years. But anyways, nah. Um, so I went to LA for my birthday and I stayed there. I was like there up until a little while ago, a few days ago. So I'm back. I'm back doing videos, but I was working on this video even while I was in LA, y'all. So yeah, y'all know, and y'all know how I leave. I have left for like I will leave and don't come back for 5 more years, but I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna be consistent. Pisces gonna be consistent with the thing. All right. So I'm really excited about doing this video because I'm going to be teaching on the fundamentals of magic, and I'm going to be specifically focusing on systems. I'm going to be addressing some of the questions of why is life so hard? Why do these type of things happen to me? Why is it the harder that I try, the more things, the harder things get? I'm going to be addressing some of those questions. And yeah, without further ado, let me get up into this motherfucker. All right, so teaching on the fundamentals of magic again, and I'm going to be focusing on systems, right? So, we live in a system of predation, okay? It is eat or be eaten, kill or be killed. It is survival of the fittest, all right? The vulnerable ones and the weak ones, they don't fare so well in these types of systems that we are living in. Um, the sheeple, they have created value systems, also known as the law of sin and death, right? Because a law is a system. They have created value systems for which they cannot live up to. They have created goals within their systems for which they cannot attain. And so, what happens to the sheeple is that they suffer as a result of this system that they have not only created, but they keep it going, right? It's like, what are you not? Do you not see? You're way off here. All right. So when you live in a system for which you are not engineered for, you suffer, right? I talked about how if we were to take a fish out of the ocean and we tell that fish to climb a tree, we were to put that fish in the forest, take it out of the ocean, put it in the forest, and tell that fish to climb a tree to get its food, the fish would die literally trying to survive because a fish was not engineered to climb a fucking tree. And we are living in systems for which we are not engineered for, okay? I really want you to get that. We are living in landscapes and within systems that we are not engineered for. So this causes all kinds of problems, mental problems, physical problems, and dis-ease, and spiritual problems. Because when you are not engineered for a certain system, you are then forced to adapt. And because it's going to take you a very long time to adapt, this trauma that you experience, as not because you're not engineered for these systems, you transfer it to the next generation. And this is where we get generational curses from. Okay, big reason why we have generational curses. All right, so we live in a physical world that is made up of several different systems, billions of systems, even. Okay, now, this is important that we have an understanding of these systems, a thorough understanding of these systems, because after all, magic is one of many esoteric systems that we use to manipulate these systems in the physical world to bring about supernatural changes and supernatural results. Now, I'm going to say that again because that is going to lay the foundation of this video. So, magic is one of many esoteric systems. Now, as at the top of my head, on a side note, the other esoteric systems that we use besides magic, because magic is a system unto itself, but alchemy would be considered a separate esoteric system. Pseudoscience would be considered a separate esoteric system. Gnosticism would be considered a separate esoteric system. Astrology would be considered a separate esoteric system as it deals with the planetary systems. Numerology would be considered a separate esoteric system as it deals with the numbers systems. Tarot would be considered a separate esoteric system. A lot of people think that tarot deals with the planetary systems, but actually the tarot actually deals with the house systems, which is separate from the zodiac and the constellation systems. It also deals with the systems of the suits, okay? The occult is a separate esoteric system from magic. The major difference between magic and the occult is that the occult is the hidden knowledge of magic, and magic is the execution of that knowledge or the application of that knowledge. Some people just practice magic in theory. They don't actually apply it, okay? So magic would be active and the occult would be more passive. This would be the first video where I will actually be teaching on magic on this channel because I've been teaching on the occult all this time. So it's going to be a little bit different, all right? Now I'm going to be teaching on magic in this channel, but very, very lightly, okay? Because we don't know who's watching us, and I am not trying to help the sheeple further their agendas, all right? Y'all, I can't stand them motherfuckers. I hate them. I hate them. Anyways, so again, magic is one of many esoteric systems that we use to manipulate the physical systems of this world to bring about supernatural changes and supernatural results. Now, the word supernatural there literally means above the natural or beyond the natural. Okay, we'll come back to that in a moment. So within the universe, we have two major types of systems. We have the natural systems and we have the human and man-made systems. In a couple examples of the natural systems within the universe would include the ecosystem, which includes the lithosphere, the atmosphere, the biosphere, the cryosphere. We have the solar systems and the planetary systems. Going down to the human systems, we have so many, many systems within the human systems. We have the mate selection systems and the natural selective systems. I talked a little bit about that in my last video with the wolves. We have social systems and social hierarchical systems within the human systems. Some examples of the social systems that we have within our human social hierarchical systems would include the legal systems, the banking systems, and the political systems, and the economic systems, and the healthcare systems, and the educational systems, and the credit systems, and the oppressive systems, and the European systems, and of course we can't forget the white man's systems, okay? Systems, all right? We even have a human anatomical system called the body. Now, the body is not one singular thing. The body is made up of several different systems: the circulatory system, the endocrine system, the immune system, the nervous system, the digestive system, then integumentary system, which is the system of the skin, the reproductive system, the metabolic system. I could be here all day. Systems, okay? The body is made up of several systems. We have the systems of the psyche and the systems of the subconscious and the systems of programming. We have elemental systems and we have molecular systems and we have law systems. Some of y'all love the law of attraction. That is a system. We also have the law of cause and effect. That is another system, or one of my favorite laws, the laws of reverse causality, which says that the effect comes before the cause. Very interesting. Or the effect causes the cause. I read something years ago as it pertained to the law of reverse causation or reverse causality that said, are doctors and nurses at hospitals because people get sick, or are people getting sick because doctors and nurses are at the hospital waiting for them? Now, I know that that sounds crazy, but you have to think about the shit for a moment, okay? So the energy is actually going in the reverse. Instead of the cause coming before the effect is coming before the cause, or the effect results in the cause. Very interesting stuff. I've always found reverse causation to be very magical. We have the systems of time. Everyone knows that time is the biggest enemy of the sheeple, okay? My other favorite systems would be the power dynamic and equalization systems. Okay, everybody's running around talking about leveling up. Every day I'm seeing a new love guru, or a new level up guru, or a new love doctor, right? And they especially really like to troll Black women, because Black women are very entertained by this whole idea of leveling up. But see, when we're talking about leveling up, what we're talking about is the system of equalization. Okay, so every time I turn on my computer or go to one of my social media accounts, I am bombarded with video after video of some love or level up guru talking about finding a man of means. And I see that the competition is fierce. Now, Black women would love to be entertained by this shit, right? Black women love the idea that there is a plethora of wealthy men that are waiting to take care of them. And we all know that that is not true. Now, that does not mean that you can't secure the bag, and that does not mean that you can't snag you one, okay? But what it means is that you just got to be a little bit smarter than the next motherfucker. So what everybody sees as leveling up, I see a motherfucking system, especially as it pertains to mating. See, here's the thing, why the competition is so fierce. So what I see when I see all these women, it's not just Black women, it's Latino women and white women and Asian women. They're all competing, right, for this population of alpha males that's not very big, all right? And so what happens is that the World Wide Web has connected us in ways that we have not been connected before. Before the World Wide Web, you were limited to the mates that were in your neighborhood, because science tells us that we mate with people that are closest in proximity to us. But now, thanks to the World Wide Web, motherfuckers are meeting motherfuckers halfway across the world. They are being flown out by some of these men and fucking these men and getting paid to fuck these men, and then they're sent back home. So what people are seeing as leveling up, I see a mate selection system. I see that because of the World Wide Web, our territories are overlapping. And whenever a species' territories overlaps, okay, whenever a group's territories overlap, the resources become limited, and this includes the mates. And when the resources become limited, because now we have a bigger group trying to share in the resources, when the resources become limited, the competition becomes fierce. So what everybody else, they have no idea what's going on. I see the mating and natural selective systems. Systems. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get where I'm going with this shit? Okay, so Shaquita's over here. She is praying to white Jesus for a man that ain't gonna never come, because Shaquita doesn't understand about mate selection. She doesn't understand about finding somebody who's in proximity to her. She thinks she's going to find somebody wonderful at Walmart, not realizing that if most people that shop at Walmart, they have a certain income bracket that they belong to, and she is just under the idea that she's going to meet a millionaire at the Walmart that she frequents every Saturday. But the odds of that happening, I'm not saying that that's not impossible, okay? But we know that the odds of that happening is very, very low. Okay. So now that we understand these systems, and now that we know that we need to go outside of Walmart or travel a little bit further than Walmart to increase our chances of having better mates, well, you understand where I'm going with that. That's why we need to learn these systems. Okay. So going back to the power dynamic and equalization systems, all right. Somebody told me a story a long time ago, and I'm reminded of it as I am teaching this. She told me that she was a single mother at the time, and she felt like she should have an extra level of protection in her home. She was interested in purchasing a gun as she did not have a man in the home. And she contacted this man who was a gun aficionado, or he owned a gun shop or something like that. And she expressed to him that she, being a woman, she was concerned about having a firearm in the home. She did not have experiences with guns, and she was a little bit fearful. And the man said, honey, he said, if you were in the presence of two unarmed men, the power dynamic would be imbalanced. And if they were to aggress against you, you would be defenseless. But if you had a gun, the gun would be the equalizer, and you would be able to defend yourself. So power dynamic and equalization system, understanding that system is really important. So when people are talking about leveling up, they're talking about equalization systems. All right. So now moving forward. So the universe, right? What you need to know about the universe is that the universe does not like any imbalance within its systems. It does not like its order being challenged. Okay. So in the ecosystem, for instance, if the smallest population of insects were to decrease, the smallest insect population within the ecosystem, if that population were to suddenly, decrease rather, okay, it would throw the ecosystem off. All right. And the ecosystem would then have the burden of fixing that defect. And so, in order for the ecosystem to fix the defect within the insect population, it would then have to borrow from another system. That's a problem to have to do that, because when you borrow from another system to fix another system, it puts strain on that system. And then that system needs to borrow from another system. Let me explain it to you this way. When our bodies, when one of our systems start to break down, okay, and we get disease, right? We go to the doctor. The doctor prescribes us medicine, which is sorcery and pharmakia. Okay, the doctor prescribes us medication. We take the medication, and all of a sudden, we're noticing that we're getting side effects. Well, where are those side effects coming from? The side effects are mainly coming from the fact that the medication is trying to fix one system, but it's having to borrow from another system in the body to fix it. Now, at first, okay, the body is strong. It can take those hits, right? But over time, we know one of the greatest predictors in the progression of dis-ease is being on what? Medication, because it's borrowing from other system, putting strains on other system to try to fix the one system, right? So we try to find, we know that a healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy life and a healthy spirit is a balanced life. It's a balanced body. It's a balanced mind. It's a balanced spirit. Okay. Now I know it's hard to find balance. So the chaos that we are seeing in this world, in this universe, is nothing more than the systems being completely out of whack, and the universe trying to balance out these systems, and it's bringing out this chaos. That's what happens. You're trying to balance out these systems, and you're having to borrow from other systems. That causes chaos. And the sheeple are the number one reason why the world is full of chaos, because they keep introducing these systems into the world that's not only affecting the man-made systems, but it's affecting the natural systems, right? We got, what do they call that? I want to call it the greenhouse effect, global warming, right? All that shit, right? It's being affected by the strain that the sheeple are putting on the natural systems, okay? So here's the next part to this. So again, the universe does not like imbalance within its systems. Okay. So here we go. So here's the next thing that I want you to know, that within every system, there are two major components, whether it be a natural system or a man-made system. There are two major components. Okay. Number one, every system has an order. Every system has an order. Okay. Number two, every system has an order that has forces within that order regulating that system. So every system has an order, and every system has forces within that order that regulate those systems. Okay? So we all fall somewhere along these orders. Some of us are at the top, some of us are in the middle, some of us are at the very bottom, right? We all know that when it comes to social hierarchies, it's no fun in being at the bottom, right? Because the slave takes the brunt of everything. I talked a little bit about that in my last video, right? So somewhere within these systems that we are existing in, we fall in a certain order. We fall in this certain order for many different reasons. Usually the predictor of where we're going to fall in an order, usually a lot of times it comes from our bloodline. It comes from where were our parents at? Where were our grandparents at? Okay. And we know that trauma and habits are passed down from generation to generation. But sometimes things can change within a generation, right? You can have a generation that had experienced poverty, but the next generation has found themselves, in a place where they have, eradicated that poverty off of the bloodline, okay? So we fall somewhere along this order. We fall in a certain place, in a certain position, okay? And so going back to the question, why is life so hard? Why is it the harder that I try, the worse things get? Now, there's actually a law. I don't know the name of the law, but it's much effort, minimal reward. And let me tell you this, if nobody has ever told you this, the universe does not honor hard work. It does not honor hard work. Let me tell you something. Now, I know a little bit about this because I lost a lot of weight. And let me tell you something. When I was trying to lose weight, I just, my family, in our genetics, we just got those thrifty genes, and we just like to eat, and we just did not have good eating habits. It's just in our family, maybe in yours too, maybe not. But and so the environment, the food system and the food environment is not very kind to people that have the thrifty genes, right? Just it's not a good environment to be in. Like, it would be best for us to be out on the Serengeti running after the motherfucking camel. I don't know what's out there on the Serengeti or whatever, running after whatever kind of meat. It would have been better for us to be running our asses after them, and then, having, food or whatever to burn all that shit off. But the food system, of course, we all know is not good. So, of course, I'm trying to lose weight and I couldn't lose weight. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I can't figure this shit out until I started to learn the systems, the metabolic systems. And I was like, oh, okay, this is how this shit works. And so when I figured the system out, then the weight started to come off. This white girl told me, now white girls, they got the corner on the market with the weight loss and shit. They really do. This white girl, and I was telling her, I was like, I'm so frustrated, I can't lose this weight. And she was like, she was telling me, she was like, you have to trick your metabolism into losing weight. You have to trick your metabolism into thinking that you are getting all of the proper nutrition that you're supposed to, so that it can release that weight. And I was like, okay, bitch, tell me more. So I started from there, and I started to lose a lot of weight, because it's a system. It's the metabolic system. You can't drop the weight because your body, you try to go drop the weight, your body thinks that you're starving yourself, and it wants to hold on to that weight because it thinks you're going into famine, right? So the body doesn't want to release that weight because it's trying to protect you. It's the system, right? That's why we got to learn the systems. So Going back to what I was saying, why is life so hard? You have that thing, that law that says, much effort, minimal reward. The universe does not honor your hard work. It doesn't. Even if you were to work so hard and you finally attain the thing that you work for, you have lost so much in trying to attain that thing. You have lost your mind. You have lost your spirit. You have lost everything trying to attain that one thing, which is why weight loss is so difficult to maintain. Okay. And I'm still going, but I'm just saying, I'm still working on the shit, but um it's amazing how the shit works. I'm so blessed to be able to have this knowledge. So anyways, so the universe does not honor hard work. That's why I always say cheat, don't compete. Okay, cheat, don't compete, right? So going back again for the third or fourth time, um so what you have to understand again is that we have this order and we have these forces. Now, whenever we try to move ourselves out of the unfavorable positions that we find ourselves in along this order, okay? We say we want to change neighborhoods because we want our children to go to better schools. We want it to get into better relationships. We want to end the toxic relationships that we have. Maybe we want a new career. Maybe we want to start our own business. Maybe we want to lose weight, whatever the case may be, right? Have you ever experienced when you try to change something about your life, all hell breaks loose? All hell breaks loose. You've taken 3 steps forward and 10 steps backwards, right? Well, there's a reason for this. Those forces that are within that order that are naturally unopposing, right? When they're not challenged. When we try to move out of unfavorable positions, now I want you to get this, and I'm going to go more into this in my next video when I talk about trauma. When we are trying to move up the food chain a little bit, right? When we're trying to change our circumstances, these forces that's within these orders that are naturally unopposing, when we go try to move into a favorable position that would benefit us, okay? The universe takes that as a threat because you are challenging its order. You're trying to move up the food chain, which means that you're going to bump somebody out of their place, even though they're very deserving of it. You're going to try to change generations of bad luck, of being in unfavorable positions. Your family, your bloodline has been in a position of oppression for I don't know how many generations, okay? And you're going to try to change that, and the universe says, oh no, you're not. Oh no, you not trying to get better up over here. And so when we try to challenge these orders, we automatically invoke forces of opposition against us. Those forces are released against us in an opposing fashion. This is why it seems like life appears to be so difficult, because we are challenging the forces within these systems. Okay? Get that, understand that. Now, when we are using magic, before I get there, let me say this. So, as I talked about before, why does it seems like when we try to change things, the harder things get, the harder we work, the harder things get? I always revert back to one of my other favorite laws, Newton's third law of motion, which says for every action there is a what? An opposite and equal reaction. So that means that when I go to push up against a brick wall, Newton's third law says that that brick wall is pushing back against me with equal force, but coming from an opposite direction. And so what that means is that neither I move or neither the brick wall moves. We're just pushing against each other until one of us exhausts, and it's probably going to be me. Okay. Now, if I wanted to push that brick wall back by 1 inch or 2 or 5, I would then have to introduce another force that would be able to push back the opposing force coming from the brick wall. Now, I know what you're saying. Pisces, why are you teaching science? Why aren't you teaching magic? Well, hold on, bitch. I'm going to get there in just a moment. Okay. So in magic, magic is like a cheat. But I don't really want to call it a cheat because it's really not a cheat. What magic does, because again, what did I say? Magic is an esoteric system that manipulates the physical systems, right? To bring about supernatural change. We're trying to go above the natural, right? We're trying to go beyond the natural. Magic, within magic, if it is done right, okay? When we apply the magic correctly to the systems that we are challenging, and each of and every one of us are challenging different systems. Some of us are sick, some of us and need healing, some of us are challenging the educational system with our children, some of us are challenging systems that are at work, some of us are challenging financial systems. Okay, when we apply magic, like I said, for lack of better words, it's like a cheat, but what it really is, magic has the ability to circumvent the forces within these systems. So going back to what I said is when I talked about having to push that brick wall back and having to introduce another force to be able to push the brick wall back, right? What magic does is that the best sources of concentrated energy, which is a force in magic, the best forces to fight these forces within these systems would be demonic forces. Now, a lot of people don't like to talk about demons because you've been conditioned and programmed to think that demons are bad. But remember, Christians lie. Religion lies. While you're up there calling on these light spirits and not getting anywhere, the ministers and the elders in the church or the higher ups in these religions and even in the Muslim religion, okay, they're all doing dark shit. The priests doing all kind of shit with these young boys, the pastors doing all kind of sex magic and shit, stealing money from people. That's all dark shit. Okay, you think they up there living because you so fucking dumb and you've been so fucking conditioned and programmed. You think that these pastors and shit that they living good because they're following some kind of light teaching. They're doing what Jesus told them to do. Are you fucking kidding me? They're doing all kind of demonic shit. That's how they got the shit, but they're not gonna teach you that because they know once you learn that shit, you're not coming back to church again because you don't need them and you don't need their Jesus. You don't need their fucking God. Okay? They're not going to teach you that shit. So the best forces to use to oppose these forces within these systems that are already dark or other dark spirits. You cannot fight darkness with light. You can't do it. The light is not strong enough. We need dark spirits. If you found yourself in the pit of hell, and some of you are probably already in the pit of hell and you don't know how to get the fuck out of there, you don't need an angel. Well, first of all, angels ain't gonna come there because angels, they can't cross certain boundaries. Angels gonna tell you, boo, I'll send you a postcard, but I'm not about to be coming where you are. They can't go down there. They can't go down into the pit of hell. They're not engineered to go to the pit of hell. Okay, you gonna need some dark spirits to guide you through because they are already dark. They can see through the darkness. You're not gonna, light spirit is not gonna help you get through. It's not strong enough. Light spirit try to come to where you are, they're gonna get eaten up. Okay, so demonic forces, not only are they dark, but they have certain attributes and certain characteristics that they're able to push back these opposing forces. Now, what you need to know about any type of opposing force is that three things need to happen. I talked about one of them. I talked about them being equalized. So we need three things to happen with opposing forces. There needs to be equalization, neutralization, and destabilization. So opposing forces need to be equalized, neutralized, and destabilized. And demonic forces are able to do that. This is why we use demons in our work, because they're the only sources of concentration of energy, aka forces, that are able to do this. So when we apply these esoteric systems, right? Some of y'all over here trying to look for witches to help you. You getting all these charlatans on YouTube when all you need is a really good astrologer, because your problem could just be coming from your planetary systems being all screwed up or all fucked up, or you need a tarot card reader, a good tarot card reader who understands the houses and who understands the suits. It could be just as simple as that, getting a good tarot card reading, knowing what position your house is in, knowing if it's gotten out of position or trying to get it back into position. Okay, we know Kanye West, and he needs to visit this witch again. I heard that Kanye West before he got famous, he visited this witch who rearranged his house and put it back into a favorable position so that he can get the fortune and fame. But it looks like to me that house didn't move out again, because your houses are constantly moving. They're constantly moving in and out of position. Okay, I'm not talking about your zodiac sign. I'm talking about your constellation. I'm talking about the house that you were born under. All right, that's this whole separate video up unto itself. So magic is kind of like the cheat, but we have to know the appropriate type of magic that we need to use. Do we need astrology? Do we need numerology? Now, sometimes in life we can use all of those things, right? But sometimes there's other types of magic that we need to use. Now, we know there's different magical systems like chaos magic, it deals with chaos, Goetian magic, which comes from Solomon. We have Enochian magic, that's a different, those are all different types of magical systems, which I'm not personally big into, because the creators of those magical systems basically created for the time period for which they were living in and for the systems that they were challenging. That's why it's not a one size fits all approach when it comes to magic. The magic that you need to be practicing is a magic that's tailored to your needs and tailored to the systems that you are fighting. And so that's the magic that you want to practice. That's the magic that you want to learn. It's so important that you apply the appropriate magic to the systems that you're challenging, or else you're just going to be all off and shit. If you're dealing with generational curses, a tarot card reading is not going to help you. It's not going to help you because tarot is pretty superficial. Okay, it's superficial, so it's not going to help you. You're going to need something stronger than that. Okay. Numerology explains a lot of things, but it may not be strong enough to lift a generational curse. Okay. And then again, like I said, if you're just dealing with something superficial, numerology or astrology or something, that now there's some good ass astrologers, if you can find yourself a good astrologer, they are like gold in the magic world. They are like gold. Find yourself a good ass astrologer that know how to read your planetary systems. But that's just one aspect of your life, right? Because you have so many aspects. Your life is multifaceted. So because my time is going to run out here. That's another thing that I wanted to say too. I forgot to mention. 1 years ago, I was like broke and I didn't have no money, and all of a sudden I got this check in the mail. So I don't even remember who the people that owed me money, but it was like $500. I got the check in the mail. I was dancing. I was like, oh my goodness, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm the bomb, And then I went to go put the check in the bank. I put the check in the bank, $500. I just remember so happy. Like, you ain't got no money and you just get $500 from nowhere. You just like, oh wow, right? So I went put the check in the bank. A couple of days later, I went back to my mailbox, and to my horror, I get a bill for $500 for the same amount. And of course, I thought to myself, I am the most cursed person in the world. God hates me. Why do I have to live like this? What's wrong with me? How could this happen? I was so happy just 2 days ago. I must be the most cursed person in the world, right? Well, I didn't understand the banking system. See? So what I ended up finding out when I talked to somebody in banking, the banking system, y'all, okay, that the same motherfucking bank that cut me that $500 check was the same motherfucking bank that my creditors belong to. So, of course, the bank wants to keep the money with them, right? So they probably knew that when I get this $500 check and I didn't have no money in my in my account, they probably knew that that money was going to be gone. It was going to go to Target. It was going to go to groceries. It was going to go get my car fixed, right? Because I could spend $500 in like 30 minutes, like literally. Um, they knew that I didn't have no money before. That money was not going to be there, right? So when I got the check, because they like use the same bank, it flagged my account. So somehow my creditors, right? It wasn't the devil. It wasn't. Now there were forces at work. There were dark forces at work, right? But it was the dark forces of banking. And my account got flagged, and my creditors found out that I had $500 and I owed them $500. So they sent me a $500 bill. And it wasn't because I was cursed. It was because of the banking system. okay? Which is why I'm teaching and telling you guys why it's so important that we learn these systems, because when we don't learn these systems, we can miss out on um, um, having finances, and having the mates that we deserve, and having the life that we deserve, simply because we're ignorant to how these systems are working, okay? And when we learn magic and when we apply this appropriately, um, we are able to circumvent the forces within these systems. Now, obviously, because I don't know who's watching, I have to stop just short of how to apply this, of how to use it. So I can't go too much further with this. But you guys, when I learned this, I was just, it completely changed my perspective of the world and of life, and my relevance to the world, and why I was treated the way I was treated, and why my mother died when I was 12. My mother died tragically when I was 12, and it was because of the system of the order that she fell in. I remember when we were younger and people died, we used to get so scared because they used to tell us that death comes in threes. And we used to wonder when somebody died who the other two people was coming. And there's a reason for this, because in the universe there are certain forces at work. One of my friends on Facebook, her friend had she posted her mother was dying. I'm not friends with the woman, but her mother was dying of cancer. And she went to go visit her. And moments after she got out of her car, somebody came in and completely totaled her car. I mean, it was just amazing. They couldn't find the person. It was crazy. They couldn't find the person. They couldn't find, it was like, how did that person survive and how that person drive away? But it completely totaled her car. And you have to ask yourself and wonder, what the fuck? Her mother was dying of cancer, and here she goes to go visiting her mother. What was going on? Well, those forces, okay? So whatever was trying to take her mother out was coming to take her too. That's what I'm talking about. When these forces are activated, didn't give a fuck. It was coming to take her mother, and she was going to see her mother, and she was trying to bring healing to her mother. Those forces were coming for her too. I know what I'm talking about, because that thing that took out my mother, and that thing that took out my aunt, my mother's younger sister, that killed her very young. My mother died young. Her sister died young. My grandfather died young. Was coming for me too. It was coming. And even though I'm a witch and I had all this knowledge, I couldn't stop that train from coming. But what I could do was able to get out of its way. But in order to get out of its way, right, I had to learn these systems. My mother died for a reason. We experienced trauma for a reason. Now we have the burden of using these tools, or finding tools to keep ourselves out of the way of these forces, to circumvent these forces. Okay? I'm going to leave you guys with this. I want you guys to remember, because I got to do the other videos after this. Manifestation is the elimination of resistance. I'm going to say that again. Manifestation, which is what we're all looking for in magic, is the elimination of resistance. We use magic to eliminate resistance so that we can bring about manifestation. So I'm just going to leave y'all with that, because I got a whole bunch of other videos, you guys, I have to finish up and put out here. I don't want to leave y'all hanging again. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to revisit this. I'm probably going to go into it deeper. My next video I'm going to be talking about is trauma. And I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite demons that's actually connected to trauma that I studied. And yeah, so that one's going to be a good video. If you have experienced any trauma, you may want to tune in for that video. So hopefully this has helped you guys understand some stuff, helped you guys understand that we've got to learn these systems, you guys. We've got to learn the systems that are applicable to our lives. We've got to learn these systems so that we can fight these systems, so that we can be victorious in life, okay? My happiness, my health, everything, I owe it to the knowledge that I have passed on or shared with you guys in this video. Now, there's so much more to it, right? I can only touch the surface. I've only touched the tip of the iceberg. It's so much more deeper. Of course, I only have so much time to be able to share some of this stuff. But if you can get this, I'm telling y'all, it's a superpower within itself. So I'm gonna leave y'all with that. I'm gonna put up this video and I'm gonna put up the other videos because yeah. All right, y'all. So I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.